What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Mornings with Max. And today we have our first guest on for this morning's show. And we're going to have somebody on who has been in the trenches as of recent. And, a big topic of the show recently has been interest rates and buying homes and what's going on and how to fight it. And today I wanted to talk to somebody who is in the mortgage industry to kind of give their own perspective on how the market is, what the biggest objection most people have, and what the objection handling to that biggest problem that we have as a real estate agent and as a loan officer. So, Ryan, thank you for coming on the show today. I look forward to chatting with you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Ryan, we were just briefly talking about, what the biggest objection somebody has to you right now if they're thinking about getting a pre-approval. You and I talk to a lot of different buyers and we sort of hear the same things, but I think depending on who they are and us telling them who they are or who we are, they definitely have a different reaction. So when you ask somebody, hey, you're thinking about buying. Do you want to get a pre-approval done to see what you can afford? What are you hearing the biggest objection is?
So the top two are absolutely just purchase price or rates right now. For us, it's to get over the objection, because you kind of mentioned that. It really is just trying to make people understand where the market is. We do have higher rates than they've been at sometimes, but they're also lower than they were historically in the past too. And then in terms of purchase price, they're higher, so it's gonna make your monthly payment much higher, and a small change in rate makes that go up more. So with that objection, I can understand people really are looking at a monthly payment. They need it to be reliable and they need it to be something they can afford. So I think the only way to get over the objection is to work with people in whatever situation they're in.
Battery low.
It has nothing really to do with where the rate's at or what the purchase price is. It's what you're comfortable to actually afford. And the only way to actually get there is to sit down and talk through it. Ask your realtor, what are you looking for? Can we make it happen? Ask us, what's my monthly budget? Can I afford it? And if we can, it's always the best time to move is when you can. It's nothing we can do to control prices, control rates. If you want a home, you have to see if you can afford it, and then you got to make it happen.
Absolutely. And when you're buying real estate, sure, it's a place for you to live, but you have to think long term and you have to think from an investment perspective. And especially when you're a long-term renter, buying a house is really, really huge for your personal net worth because, you're building something that you can pass on eventually, or you can use to build your wealth even more. You can't take out a loan against a rental. And that's it's really important to note that. Not saying that you should always do that, but it's an option to help build your wealth in a lot of different ways. And, I always tell people when they're objecting against the interest rates, a couple of things. It's twofold. The first thing I love to say is marry the house, date the rate. You might find the right house and you can always refinance if the mortgage rates go lower. Secondly, as a buyer, you always have to think worst case scenario. And the same thing when you're thinking about selling your property. Worst case scenario for buyers is prices go up and rates go up, and you have to think, well, what's the lowest they're going to be? It's now, right? That's what you have to think.
Mhm.
And we saw something that was kind of unprecedented during COVID and right after it is we saw prices go up, but we also saw interest rates go up. And normally when interest rates go up, you do see a plateau or decrease in home prices. And if you see interest rates go down, normally you see an increase in home prices, simply because more people are interested in the market. And if we saw a decrease in interest rates or a significant decrease in interest rates, that would not reflect on a easier market and everything. It would be bedlam. We're still looking at lower inventory, but that's just for New England. I saw a really curious statistic this morning, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I saw currently right now in the United States, 1 in 8 homes are listed in Florida in the United States. So Florida has the highest inventory in the country, And based off of the total houses for sale in the country, 1 in 8 of those are in Florida, which is insane.
Yeah. I honestly
Um,
I haven't heard that statistic, but it doesn't surprise me.
Battery
yeah.
low.
Well, and by the way, that's not God talking to you, telling you that your battery's low. That's Ryan's headset. So,
That is
um,
indeed.
but so explain to me, I think a lot of people are confused on, and you might know the answer to this, may not, but why do oil prices and oil feuds have an effect on the interest rate? Like, why does that directly affect it?
Yeah, so without getting too technical about it, because honestly, I just wouldn't know it enough to teach, but it is just a general reflection of the whole economy. So kind of taking account into the 10-year Treasury yield and just a full performance of whether it's inflation, the job market, that is what directly will lead in to the interest price rate or the interest rate. So with that in mind, you kind of are just up to you're kind of just up to things that are out of your control for the rate. And like you
Hmm.
were saying, if it comes down, prices a lot of times go up. So buying now would be the best part. And then if they go down, or say the rates go up, prices are going to come down on your home. There's still ways where you buying that home now is going to be the better option. So it kind of is just generally about the economy. And since you as one person can't control that, unless you're banking on it to explode and go all the way to zero, it's always a good time to do whatever you can afford.
Absolutely. So I guess my final question for you is something that has to do with people that want to wait and are convinced to rate. So rates are higher than they were 5 years ago. Inventory is slightly up right now, but it's still not what it was 10 years ago. Um, and realistically, prices are only going to go up from here on out. And, they might not go up as fast, but that's a fact. They're going to go up. And if they do come down, a lot of people that are hoping for that, I don't think understand what happens with that, and that is a total collapse in the economy. And I think they think, oh, home prices are going to come down and everything's going to be fine and dandy. And the thing is you might lose your job because of that, and not you particularly, but people who are thinking about buying.
Yeah,
So, does a buyer today have more leverage on price or terms than they'd have gained by waiting for a rate that may not have come?
100%. Especially on any purchase, even if it's not with me, I never advise really just shopping based on the rate for the purchase. Yes, you can deal with the rate really on the refinance when there's less going on. But if you want a home and you want to secure the mortgage, you need a good team behind you. The rate isn't what's important. It's that you qualify, you're comfortable with the payment. And then 6 months to 12 months down the line, if you have the right team, you have the right mortgage loan officer, like what I try to do, we're going to call you and save you money later, but you need a home first. It's how you start building equity.
Battery low.
It's what's going to actually help you get through it. And instead of paying all the money to rent, yes, there's an interest rate, but the rest of your money and a good portion of it is going to principal, like you say. And it's definitely worth it. Don't concern with the rate. Really concern with the monthly payment and make sure you're comfortable with it.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Ryan. And for all of you that want specifics, I did a great podcast with Adam Dow, and we broke down an example exactly like this, where somebody waited for interest rates to go down, and I went off of market statistics in the past that saw an increase in the
Battery
home
low.
price, which ultimately offset what you would gain on the lower interest rate. So, that's just really important to note. Waiting does not save you money. It could end up costing you. So, Ryan, thank you for coming on today and clearing up a few of these different things. Hope you guys learned something. Any last words of wisdom, Ryan, that you want to share?
Only words of wisdom. Make sure you get yourself a good realtor. Make sure you get yourself a good loan officer. Everything's going to go smooth. That's the best thing I can say.
Absolutely. Nothing's quite a guarantee, Ryan. I wish we could say that, but we're going to work our hardest to make sure that it does go as smoothly as possible.
All we can do.
Yeah. Thank you for listening, guys. Ryan's contact information is going to be in the description of this show. And thanks, Ryan, for your time today.
Thank you, Max.
All right.